Welcome back, Billiken fans. It's Zach Miller and Peter Hale. This is the Midtown Madness Podcast. Before we get going, thank you so much for listening. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon down below, get notified whenever a new episode comes out. It's season 4, and once again, the Midtown Madness Podcast is brought to you by the greatest salsa in the world. I am not exaggerating. It's Two Men in a Garden. Peter, as I've mentioned to you before, I consume a lot of internet content, and the companies that are sponsoring podcasts, YouTube videos are absolutely ridiculous. I do not understand. Nobody needs a wallet clip that also massages your butt. Nobody needs it. Nobody needs it. What you do need and what you are going to do is whenever you go to the grocery store, you're going to see Two Men in a Garden salsa right there on the shelf. It's local. It tastes amazing. And they've got all the flavors to suit your individual salsa preferences. You can pick up, like I said, their many products at any local grocery store, or you can go online if you have discerning salsa tastes and find just the right flavor for you at twomeninagarden.com. Follow them on social media at Two Men Salsa on Instagram and Twitter. Pete, if anybody's listening at home, or if anybody's listening, because I have no idea if anybody listens, I don't know. If you're watching or listening at home, you can hear a little extra energy in my voice. It's because we just finished an interview with the brand new Billiken head volleyball coach, Andrea Beaty, continuing Coaches Month, as I just decided to dub it right in the last 5 seconds. And that interview's coming up, Pete, right now. Billiken fans, and by we, I mean me, it's just been me. I've been hyping this guest spot since the hiring was announced. It's finally here, and I'm excited and very happy to welcome in our new head volleyball coach, Andrea Beaty, to the Midtown Madness Podcast. Andrea, I can't do that. I've never called you Andrea in 15 years that I've known you.
You don't have to. You don't have to call me Andrea.
Yeah. Beaty, talk to us about how you first started, getting interest from Ann Cordes and Billiken volleyball when you were back in high school. Because as people, I don't know if people realize this, but you played a year here.
I played 2 seasons, actually.
2 seasons, here. That's what it was.
Yeah. So, no, I remember.
I was too drunk around that time.
No comment on that one, but but no. So I committed to SLU when I was 15, 16 years old. So when I talk to recruits, I always tell them I'm completely biased because I've been wanting to go to SLU since I was 15 years old. We won't say how long ago that was, but I'm sure Zach can do the quick math on that. But no, I remember. It wasn't just the program, but it was all the excitement from the community. I remember, walking around campus, and I do truly feel like SLU is such a gem of a campus that you don't truly understand until you're on campus. And then the athletic department, everyone was so excited about every sport, and the whole community came together. So I remember sitting in the stands, and we're playing Stanford, beating Stanford when they were number awesome. 2. I was in the stands as a recruit, and I saw the whole community come together. And it was such a fun game to experience. I'd never seen that many people watch a volleyball game live, and how exciting they're recruiting me. So, I think everything all together, it was the full package, and it continues to be the full package. So I'm just thrilled that I get to be in this spot of leadership and back home as a Billiken.
I just found that game film, by the way, the other day.
Oh, from Stanford?
Oh, yeah, I have it on a DVD. I need to put it on YouTube, actually.
Yeah. Please do. I would love to watch it again.
I'll work on that this week. Unfortunately you were recruited by Ann Cordes, who ended up moving on to Louisville. You decided to transfer. Talk about that decision and whether or not that experience has given you a little more perspective now as a coach and the booming transfer portal that we're seeing in the last couple of years.
The transfer portal is way different. We didn't have a portal back when I transferred. It was much more of a tedious process to transfer, which I appreciate that there's an opportunity for athletes now. But it does become difficult because now people are hopping in there left and right. So it's a new thing us coaches are trying to get a hand over. But what I'll say is this is you can look at my past playing, and I played for Ann Cordes at SLU, played for Kent Miller at SLU, played for Melissa Stokes at Missouri State. And what I can say is I'm really lucky because I got to play under 3 coaches and I learned something from all 3 of them. And it's allowed me to kind of merge, I guess you could say, my style, kind of picking the things that you like, but also managing some things a little differently. But I've learned so much from each coach. So not many people can go through college and say they've had 3 coaches and they've been all 3 very different from each other. But you truly learn from each person that you get an experience with. So in a lot of ways, it was a hard decision to leave because I loved SLU and I still do. But at the time, it was the right decision for me. So that's why I can kind of understand the transfer portal in some ways, but I do think we got to stick it out sometimes as well too. So it's a fine line. It's a dance, a rhythm.
So your first stint in coaching, you go to your arch rival, your high school arch rival, I guess I should say, at St. Francis Borgia, you being a Washington high school graduate. How did that transition go, and what was your experience like there?
So during that time, it's interesting. This tells you how much I love volleyball and how much I love coaching. I was working for my dad. He has a company in North St. Louis. So I was living in Eureka, driving, 45 minutes out to work, an hour, sometimes hour and a half out to Washington, Missouri to coach, and then another 45 minutes back to Eureka. So most people would say I'm crazy. But then again, I think all of us that are passionate about sports are just a tad crazy. But it was an opportunity. The AD called me. I knew him pretty well at the time and asked me if I'd take on that challenge. And I'm so glad I did because it was just that starter step into the world of being a head coach and being able to work with young women every day and challenge them and let them see the possibilities and sometimes push them to see what the actual possibilities are. So it may seem like a small step, but I learned a lot and I'm a lot more patient than I was then. You can ask Abby Lynn, who's on the roster now. It's the first thing she said. She said, wow, you're a lot more patient than I remember. But what a great experience to be able to get into the community and do what I love.
How does that, you go and all of a sudden you have to basically lead a group of high school kids. Like high school kids are brutal to deal. Like if you haven't had experience with high school kids, they're not easy to deal with. And that's me saying it, not Coach Beaty, everybody, please. But having no head coaching experience, how did you step into that and just feel, comfortable in your own, skin, I guess?
I had club coached for a while before I did it. I was assisting and I was a head coach of a small club team in Springfield. But my big thing about coaching is I really enjoy connecting with people. Especially young people who are at a very exciting time in their life. So yes, there's a handful of challenges. That's probably why I wasn't as patient as I am now. But I do think the fun part about high school is there really, at least when I was doing it, there was no recruiting. You had your group and you had to get better as that group. It wasn't like you were bringing in people every freshman year and got a new squad. So it had its challenges, but it really helped in realizing how to run a program, how to work with donors, how to work with a budget, a small budget, but a good budget. And, at Borgia, we had so much support, so much tradition. So it was the perfect place to get my feet going. And with the support, I was able to really find the path that I needed to get into the college game.
So tell me about that path to the college game. How do you make that move and why was UTEP the job?
Yeah. So actually, I owe it to my father quite a bit because I was working for him and the whole goal was for me to take over the company one day. And while I like to think I'm a great saleswoman, it wasn't my passion. I like to sell St. Louis University. I don't like to sell, things, I guess. Education and an athletic experience. But no, he actually is the one that pulled me aside and said, this isn't your baby. Like your baby is volleyball and coaching. Like you need to go do it. So as soon as he said that, I applied for a lot of jobs. UTEP had a really interesting experience where they brought in a brand new head coach, first year head coach, who's been an assistant for many years and successful. And it was a brand new staff. So what was great about that first couple of years is I not only got to see what D1 volleyball coaching is like, I got to see the obstacles that first year head coaches have that are transitioning from that assistant to head coach position. So it ended up being the perfect opportunity. And I love El Paso, Texas. I still think a part of my heart and soul is there, but I learned so much. And like I said, Ben gave me my first shot in college coaching. And it's going well. So I'm very thankful for that shot.
I want to follow up on that for a second. I haven't been to El Paso. I've been to Big Bend National Park. I've been all over New Mexico. I do like that part of the country a lot, but it's out there. I mean, you're really, really isolated. How do you recruit to, this really isolated, pretty big?
You've never seen Glory Road, Pete?
I actually haven't. I mean, I know the story.
Of course, Zach knows every single detail.
Yeah. The great scene is when they're on the bus and they're heading to El Paso for the first time. And he says, hey, somebody call my mama. I think I'm the first black man on the moon.
It's
absolutely hilarious.
El Paso,
it's way out there.
It's way out there. It's desert. The people of El Paso are absolutely incredible. I mean, they take care of you. They don't have to know who you are. It's a great community to be a part of. So yes, it's way out there. It's actually closer to New Mexico than it is any other city in Texas. Right. It's even on that time zone. It's not even on Central Time Zone. But I fell in love with the area. I was just joking with Zach. I'm getting used to the humidity again because I've lived in dry climates for the past few years. But no, I miss it dearly, and I'm really thankful for what that program was able to, one, teach me, but also lead me into the next position.
You know what? I've never asked this question, and it's kind of interesting because we did have Harriman on who just got hired as an assistant. But when you're interviewing, for an assistant position, what are they looking for? And then again, what do you look for at an assistant?
Yeah, so I'll kind of answer that from what I was looking for here at SLU. One, someone I knew. That's the first step because it's all about trust. And, we're leading a group of young women who need a leader, but we're asking them to trust us. So we need to trust each other. So, Steven Zarzitsky, perfect example. We worked together at Syracuse. And I mean, his story is just absolutely incredible too, with everything he's been through. And then for Amber, I mean, we got connected through mutual people we knew. And she sent me this great text message that was inviting, and I wanted to respond. And that's the first thing you have to do as a recruiting coach. You have to be able to get these 16, 17 plus year old young women on the phone to give you a chance to sell exactly what we have here. A lot of times, a lot of that's done over texting. So you have to be able to convey a message over text message, or maybe convey an emotion is a better way of putting it. But she did that. And then the best part is you have to have balance. So I always say I'm the loud one. I'm like in your face. I don't need any coffee, but still drink coffee. And then Amber, first of all, her nickname's Burr. That's cool. Secondly, she got a sleeve tattoo and as chill as can be. So while her and me have like matching energy, like she's the calm one. I'm the one, it's a little, out there. The kind of, the dorky one is the way I like to put it.
We're similar people. Is if you've met me, you've met Andrea Beaty. Energy wise, she's much nicer than I am.
I will give myself that point.
You have quite the interesting, I mean, you have an incredibly interesting coaching path. You've been the interim head coach at two different programs under two different circumstances. What's it like being thrown into that spot during a coaching search like you were at Syracuse?
Yeah, so at Syracuse, it was even, what I'll say is I learned a lot about perspective, because usually in the situation that we were in at Syracuse, it's your interim, aka you probably should be starting to look for a job, just because you see the writing on the wall. And so you want to leave the program better than when you got there. But what had happened is a day after I became interim, Russia actually invaded Ukraine, and we had Ukrainians and Russians on our team. And so here, Steven and I, a bunch of youngins are now realizing that, wow, yesterday it really sucked that we have to look for a job, but today, like, that's okay. We have bigger things to handle. There's bigger things going on in the world, bigger things going on with our players. Like, we got to put ourselves aside for a minute and really focus on that. So, I think anyone put in an interim role, it's a very difficult spot to be in, whether you're going to stay on or not, just because your players have a lot of questions and you still want to train them and you want to give them all of your effort and prepare them for best case scenario, but also knowing sometimes you don't end up staying at that place. So It's difficult. At Denver is a little different because I was interim because our head coach had received a cancer diagnosis, and he is doing great, by the way, which is also good news. But yeah, at Syracuse, it was really difficult. But once again, if you're really valuing the relationship with the players, I think there's not a whole lot that you can't get through. You might not be able to understand or have the answers to everything, but having that relationship piece, I think overall is the most important factor when coaching a team.
What was it like being tapped as a caretaker for the program? I mean, that's a big deal.
It's my dream. I don't know. You know, people say they want to be a mom, like they've always known they want to be a mom. I want to be a coach, and I want to be the person that they come to when they have hard times or when they have good times. That's the part of the job. You can't just be there for the good times. You got to be there for the hard times. And I just value that part of the job. So for me, I'm like, yes, like I don't want anyone to go through anything hard, but I also do want people to feel safe enough that whether it's me, Amber, Steven, Avery, whoever it be, they feel like they're in a safe enough space that they have someone to go to or turn to when things are getting a little dark. So for me, I love being there for them.
So to give Zach a pat on the back here, a little bit of credit, he developed a short list when the job came open at SLU. And not that list was like an influencer or what the department used or anything like that, but for the purposes of our show, you know, he got a little input, did some research on his own, used his own knowledge. And your name was, I think, what did we have, Zach? 5 or 6 people on there?
I think it was second on the list.
It was second on the list, but we only had a few others on there.
It was Beaty knows it.
He tagged me, so I knew it.
but I'm wondering, given that we had nothing to do with it, and Zach just kind of knew, how were you approached for the SLU job? How did that come about?
You know, this is what I'll say about that. I knew the moment that I got into coaching that I wanted to be the head coach of St. Louis University. Like, you know, they want to go, whatever it be. They want to go to Stanford, Nebraska, all those schools. No, I wanted to get back to St. Louis University. And I didn't know how difficult that would be, just being someone who transferred out of the program. But, you know, when the opportunity came about, it was 100% yes from day one for me. I went through the interview process like everyone does, but I knew that if I had been asked day one, I would have said yes. So the best way I can answer that question is, in a lot of ways, it felt, it's going to sound so cheesy. You can ask my players. I'm so cheesy, so heads up. But a lot of ways, it felt like destiny. You know, it's timing. It's my ability to be able to be an interim at Syracuse and Denver gave me that head coaching experience, and all the stars aligned. So when I did finally, you know, go through that interview process, I was, you know, all in from day one. So it was a great process. I'm thankful for specifically some of the other young women I got to talk to, Coach Shields, Coach Canoyer, Coach Tillett. What a wonderful staff we have right now on all of our sports. And so with that, there was no other answer but yes.
You were at the top of my short list, by the way. For the record. It was Alyssa DeRico, Jody Fowler, Zach Young, and then Ann Cordes was the last one on the list.
She ain't coming back.
No. But it's funny. You thought that I knew something, and I just threw that out there. That was my own list.
Yeah. Well, I just appreciate being considered too. I didn't know if you were still keeping track on what I was doing, so I was a little shocked and also appreciated.
No, of course. Beaty messaged me and asked if I had seen, this was after the announcement. She had apparently been at a game before it was announced, and she thought I had seen her at that game. And that's why I had her at the top of the list.
I hadn't been at a game in, oh my goodness, over a decade. So I was so excited about the opportunity that I had to get to a game. I was home for Christmas, had to get to a game. And I really thought he must have saw me. And since I hadn't been in a game and I was at Denver at the time, that he knew I was interested in the job. And, you know, it's okay. It's okay for everyone to know. I was very interested in the job, would do anything for the job, very excited and thankful that I've gotten this opportunity to lead the program.
You had to play it cool, though, before the signing. You had to be like, maybe.
Well, you know.
Now
you can. Naturally, I'm really excited, so I can't help myself.
So I've ranted and raved on this show since we started. doing the podcast about the volleyball program and my belief in its potential. What is your kind of approach or your philosophy going forward with the program?
Oh, I love that question, Zach. I wrote a few things down, and I know we've talked previously about our plans. And, the great news is we won 18 games last year, and we returned some really talented pieces, and we added some talented pieces. Now we're a little low on numbers, but within those numbers we have, there's some really exciting things going on. And so, when we took on this job, we looked at it very much so as not just about the X's and O's. Very much we want to win, and we have very, very high stake goals. However, we also want to create, a movement around the volleyball team. We want people to be excited about it again. We also want people to feel loved by the volleyball team. And so our big theme this year is conquer the moment. And the idea being, we want to conquer an A10 championship. We want to conquer getting to the NCAA tournament. We want to conquer going deep into the NCAA tournament. But we can't just focus on that. We have to focus on the little moments that are going to happen every single day. We have to conquer practice today. We have to conquer improving our numbers, our hitting numbers, our passing numbers. We got to take it one step at a time and celebrate those milestones. So very much so, we have big goals, but we're laying them out as milestones this year. And instead of having just one big goal, going into this week, we're talking about, okay, first win. That's our first milestone, right? Second milestone, go 2 out of 3 on the weekend. Third milestone, oh, we win the first 2 games, let's sweep them. And just keep our focus very present. And so that when we get to that end of the season, we've spent a whole lot of time throughout the season focusing on each and every day. We're not even going to realize how much growth we have because we're so focused on that next moment.
I'm wondering, to even zoom out further from like X's and O's and day-to-day strategy, as I'm sure you know, Chris May, as you definitely know, Chris May is a big culture guy. He's constantly using the word culture, big on culture. How do you think your vision for this program or your own style or culture aligns with his or that of the overall athletic department right now?
Yeah, a big draw to me was the emphasis on our values as a department, and they're posted a lot of places in our gym. But what's most important is how we act those out every single day. So for me, creating culture is not an easy task, but it's doable. What's really hard is creating championship culture, creating, what soccer has created. That's what we wanted to, creating what Rebecca Tillett has created in such a short time, where she showed everyone what it takes to trust the process. And maybe it doesn't look pretty at the beginning, but my goodness, I bet no one's thinking about that anymore with that championship trophy.
I'm still thinking about that Loyola game. Sorry.
But what I'll tell you is this. It all starts as what type of unit we are. We talk about gratitude a whole lot and just being thankful for where we're at right now, but also being thankful that we get to be even further in the future. We get the opportunity to travel. We get the opportunity to play against these really tough teams. And so we're trying to create a sense of trust on the team first. Once you develop that sense of trust on the team, you develop it on the court. It's heavily correlated. If they're feeling trustful with each other outside the court, they're going to feel that way on the court. So we've really given them a voice. So I like to say collaboration is key in creating that culture, especially with young people today. When we talk with them, it's not just us coaches telling them what to do. We want their opinion. We want them to process through. So if they're working on, let's say, technique, they come up to us and we say, how'd it feel? We ask them first to see how they're processing it. And then we're very straightforward with them. We rate every practice. We rate it on a scale of execution and effort because both are important, but also you have to have both to do the big things we want to do this year. You can't just have one or the other. So we rate it every practice. Would this be the top 25 team? Would this be a top 75 team? Would this be a top 150 team? So we're reframing their network of what success looks like, but also constantly holding each other accountable on every single day, every single drill of how we can be better.
You talked about, making that connection with the players. And I know I talked with Steven a little bit and you guys did some like preseason fun stuff, minute to win it type stuff. How do you I talk about how I could not have a conversation with anyone under the age of 23. It's a different language. It's a completely different language.
Well, that's why you're not coaching college athletics.
True. This is true. It's all true. But like, how do you get to the point where because I know it's difficult where you're like, oh, are they going to think this is fun? Are they going to think it's lame? Like, how do you get past that? And how do you just kind of like force the fun, I guess?
What's been really nice is we haven't had to force it. And I know what you're talking about. I've had to force the fun sometimes on certain teams, but our team, and I had a great conversation today with Colin, actually.
The best, the best up and coming broadcaster there is. I will die on that hill.
Yeah, he's our guy.
Yeah, he's incredible. And what I explained to him, what's been really exciting about this opportunity is you come into a program where you have, freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and people that are about to be seniors. And sometimes with that opportunity, seniors will check out when they get a new coach because they feel like they're not that person's recruits, whatever it be. And the younger people try to really jump in the boat and row the same direction. That has, honestly, our seniors have been so bought in. They are so ready to have the senior season they've been dreaming about. So everything we have them do, and we have them do some silly stuff. I mean, I think that's a part of it too. We have to laugh at each other a little bit. Like the minute to win it, I will send you some videos, hysterical, and they had a blast. And once again, we're competing. And that's the biggest thing is we got to create competitive spaces so we become more competitive people. So, all I'll say is I'll give a lot of credit to the team because everything we've had, like, kind of put them through, and we've spent a lot of time developing opportunities for them. They have taken it. They have enjoyed it. They've come up to us and thanked us. Like, they have enjoyed spending more time on the court, but also off the court with each other. So I don't know how to answer that, but also, a lot of part of my job is talking to people of ages, 16 to 20, 21. So I try to remain hip. I don't know if that's the term, but I try to remain like in the know.
She's on the TikTok.
I am on the TikTok. I see some of the trends, but I'm like 3 months, like behind on it. But
3 months is like a decade in 2023 too. It's unbelievable.
Oh yes. So I'm behind on it. So I give a little bit of like dad, mom, energy. But, they're a really great group of young women who are really excited for this opportunity. So I'm very lucky in so many ways that they've been so open to our staff and wanting to take on what the message we're trying to send.
I'm always thinking about recruiting in basketball, especially because, that's kind of our bread and butter, at least from the start of this show. But I want to know about your recruiting strategy in two ways. Like, first, from like what type of player you're looking for, what are the characteristics you're looking for, personality traits, those kind of things. But also, are you looking geographically at like an opportunity to really anchor in St. Louis or Missouri or the metro, the bi-state or whatever? Or are you looking kind of nationwide and using maybe some of the connections you developed in your other jobs?
All the above. I mean, I'll explain better. But here's what I'll tell you. The short and narrow, right?
Yeah.
What we are looking for potential recruits and the recruits that we have committed. I'm looking for blue collar mentality. I want someone that wants to work hard. I don't want someone that's all about the shiny things. I like the shiny things too. But I want someone that wants to work hard, come in and grind it out. Secondly, I want someone with a chip on their shoulder. I want someone, I always say, a touch of proving people wrong never hurt anyone. I feel like, back in the day, SLU very much had that mentality of they didn't care who was across the net. So we're trying to create that space again, but it's going to be our own space. I think that's really important that we want to get back to the conference championships, the NCAA tournaments, but we want to do it our own way. It's going to look different, but it's going to have the same mentality. So I'm looking for, what I say in simple, I'm looking for this. People that when they play, I watch what they do after. I watch what they do when their teammate gets a kill. We need more of this, and our players are doing a great job with that challenge because they're enjoying competing again. But that's what I look for. I look for skills. Don't get me wrong, but I look for this.
That fist pump looks very familiar.
Oh,
I have seen it. There's at least.
I don't know if you can see this, but.
Oh yes.
Well, number 20, Megan Boken. So that's what we want. We want more Bokens. And yeah, so that's what we're looking for from like a grit perspective. I would say geographically, St. Louis and the Midwest area has some of the best volleyball you will see. We need to be hitting the St. Louis market. So we are definitely heavily committed to getting out to games and making sure our we're making appearances locally. We will complement it with people from all over the country, but I do believe, in the next few years, we want to maintain that St. Louis feel and complement it with some really nice pieces that can help us out.
So you guys just wrapped up your lone exhibition match against SIU Carbondale. Why was that the right kind of test, going over to Carbondale as opposed to maybe bringing somebody in? Why'd you choose to do that?
Well, first of all, we're going to be on the road for the first 5 weeks of competition.
We're getting there. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah. So, first of all, we needed a challenge. We needed to get on the road right away and get used to that feel. But secondly, SIU Carbondale, they returned their whole roster, a talented roster. They'll do really well in their conference. But their experience, whereas you could look at our roster and say we're experienced, but we're running a completely different system, completely new staff, some new key pieces added to that lineup as well. So we wanted the challenge. We wanted to get on the road. We wanted to play, and we wanted to play a team that had experience, because that's what we're going to see, not just in the non-con, but also in conference.
You made a little bit of a personnel switch, actually, as I learned from our good friend Colin Surrey. Looks like you've moved Jillian to the right side.
Sure did. So Jillian, as you both probably know, was one of our key performers last season and the past 3 seasons that she's been here, but she's always been in the middle, and she's a great middle. The thing is, right now, our passing numbers, we're not able to get the ball to the middle as often as we'd like, and we want to improve upon that. But when you put her on a pin, you can get her twice as much sets as when she's in the middle. So
pin
why
being outside?
Not? She's playing on the right side, but yeah, I call them pin because they should be able to swing on both. So we talked with her, we collaborated together. She was excited about the opportunity. I mean, who's not excited about getting set more volleyballs? But she's done great. I mean, she hit 400 in the SIU match. We were able to get her, I think, 28, 29 sets instead of getting her 13 or 14. And what I'll say is this: her and Addie Lyon, their connection is incredible. I can't wait for you to see it. Their connection is great. So she's still doing a lot of middle work, 1 foot work, slides, all that, but we're just able to get her the ball more.
You mentioned seeing Addie and Jillian and their chemistry. I'll be able to catch it on ESPN Plus, but it'll be a while, as you kind of alluded to see it in person, because you do not have a single home non-conference match. Mm-hmm. How did that happen?
So there's a few things. One, when there is a transition with coaching staffs, scheduling is decided a year before things actually happen, contracting, all that. But when there are coaching changes, our home tournament ended up getting hosted elsewhere because there was a change. So really that's out of anyone's hands at SLU. But also right now we have a real exciting, we're getting a brand new floor and it's not quite ready just yet. It's very close. So it also worked out pretty well for just being able to host, and we weren't able to get a home tournament hosted in the amount of time that we were giving. But the good news is we scheduled really smart, and we will be having a lot of returns for next season. So we'll definitely host once, at least, maybe twice in that next season.
Yeah, that was going to be my follow-up right there. But instead I'll ask, you mentioned Mattingly and Lyon. Who else would you feel like, or who else do you think, like, out of the returners has kind of exceeded your expectations so far in terms of where they're at already, adjusting to a new coach?
Yeah. So, once again, just talking about the seniors, they have just done such a great job in embracing the short time we're going to get to have with each other. And, my goal is, even after they graduate, they feel so involved in the process and involved with our group, because even though our staff didn't recruit them, we are very happy to have them on our team. So we see them as our recruits, even though we didn't initially, speak with them. Jill, like we already mentioned, and she's just had a consistent career overall. It's not something that's new. I do think we're giving her a bigger opportunity to get utilized more this season. So I'm excited to watch her growth with that leadership role. Emily Hankins is going to be a pretty big key to the success. She's an outside hitter. She passed a 2-1 this past weekend at SIU, which is huge. And she's starting to make really good choices. And that's the biggest piece. They're all talented. We're D1 volleyball players. I said we. Can you believe that? I still consider myself one. But we can hit a ball hard. We're good at volleyball. When it gets to the D1 level, everything happens so fast. It's all about the choices you make and who's better at making choices. So that's been really exciting to watch Emily really zone in on getting better and really incorporating those shots in games. But Carly Rogers will be a big piece of success. She's been our bro. She was our bro last year. She will be our bro this year. And she just has that gritty defensive mentality. So, I would say those three are going to play pretty big roles. And the one that I'm really excited about is Delaney Rice. She's our 6'4" other right side. So right now we're looking at a 6'2" because we want to utilize as many pins as possible. But her progress has been great. We've been really pushing her hard and challenging her because she can touch 10-2. Like, she can hit over people. She's our highest touching person on the team. And now we're just trying to create a more consistent swing from that. But we're really excited about her as well too. But we got newbies too that are really making an impact, that are exciting too.
Well, who you got? Don't tease us with that. Yeah,
I know. So, Zach, I sent you the video of Trinity Luckett's kill and her first college kill.
You did, and I need to see if I can't drop it. Actually, hold on. Let me see if I can't. Hold on one sec. All right, so here's what Andrea is talking about. Here's Trinity Luckett's kill against SIU Carbondale.
Yeah, that looked good.
It's a little choppy, but look how high that ball bounces off the court. So that's her first kill as a freshman. Her first set, she got set. That's her first swing. And
it's a good way to start.
A lot can be said about that, right? A lot of freshmen get out there and they kind of warm their way up, tip, and she's out there, big arm. I'm really excited to see the season she has. She gives us the ability to put Jillian on the right side because she makes up for that, for not having her in the middle. But we also have Josie Newcomb, who's an outside. She's fiery, she's spunky, she's this. And she went out for her first swing and got a kill as well too. She hit 250 on the match, and just fearless, both of them, just fearless. They're going to go out swinging. They're not going to be, safe. And that's the kind of playing we need. We can't be safe. We're not going to win with safe. So that's been exciting. And then Addie Lyon, just once again, her and Kate, our other setter, are doing a great job running the offense. We got to get better from the serve-receive line, but my goodness, in their hands, I have a lot of faith in them to be able to deliver a really fast offense. So altogether, a lot of exciting pieces. I'll say this past weekend, the effort was great. The execution wasn't quite there. We had moments and people that had the execution piece, but as a team, we're not there. But it's very much the beginning. That's what I told them. I go, this isn't the end. We're not an end product today. Okay. But I do need us to fight, and I need us to never give up. And they did not give up. So it was a good challenge for us. They were a little nervous. I'm excited to get the jerseys back on this weekend and get back out there and play.
Yeah, you're going to head to Tuscaloosa. You got Mercer on Friday at 10 a.m. and then Alabama will be on ESPN Plus at 7 p.m. Friday as well, and then Saturday against Mississippi Valley. One thing we talked about is that you're trying to give the team some experience everywhere you go. Mm-hmm. So yeah, what do you have planned for Alabama?
So we're going to tour Alabama's stadium, their football stadium, on Thursday. We get in Thursday. I very much value, and we used to do this when I was at SLU as well too, is creating special moments that are more than just on the volleyball court when we travel. We're in the A10. We get to go to New York City. We get to go to Washington, D.C., Rhode Island fan favorite from the players. And so being able to experience each place, I think, is really important in that experience. And once again, the best teams feel like they've had a full experience, not just good volleyball, not just good school, not just good location. They feel when they graduate, they had a full experience. And with that full experience, there's good, there's bad, and a little bit in between. But if they feel good about that whole, I feel like we've done our job as their coaches.
Yeah, that's great. You want to make it a memorable experience and in every way you can. Well, Zach, I'm good. I don't have anything else. Thanks for doing this for real.
Yeah, Beaty, thank you.
Thank you. I'm excited to see you guys at games. All I ask is you better come down and at least give me a nuts after the game.
I got you.
Please
come on.
do.
Well, I don't know when Peter's going to get into a game, but he's in Cincinnati.
Oh, well.
I'll make it whenever I can. I'll try and make one.
Well, we are at Dayton this year. Can you make it to the Dayton game?
Maybe. Yeah. I'd make it up there for basketball every year.
Okay, so I'll bring a SLU volleyball shirt so that you have a real big reason to come and then see the excellence that we have out there.
Sounds good.
Well, and if you have any travel tips for Coach Beaty, where can they tweet out their travel tips to you? What's your Twitter at?
I think he's asking you.
Oh, you're asking me.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you were asking me there. Coach_Beaty. That's where people can find me. I'm pretty certain on that, but now I'm like, is it Twitter? Is it X? I don't quite know what to call it anymore.
That's true.
That's Beaty with one T, right?
Yes.
One T, not like Warren. Okay, just one
Right.
T. And that joke I can't use with the younger people because they have no idea who Warren Beatty is. But I try. What I appreciate is y'all pronounce my last name right. That's the hardest part for most people. So I appreciate that.
What did I say? Beaty?
Yeah, it does look like Beatty. I've gotten Beaty, but I'm like, Beatty. You just gotta think like Andrea Beaty. That's what you gotta think, and it's easy to remember.
There we go.
And Peter, you can call me Beatty too. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. You can call me Beatty. I give you Beatty privileges.
I appreciate that.
Well, I'm excited. The first home match will be on the 22nd of September, but you are playing in KC the 15th and 16th. So if anybody up in KC, stop in and check them out at UMKC. Beaty, I love you. Congratulations again on coming back home and being the head coach here at St. Louis University, and best of luck. We're behind you.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys, and thank you for all you do. I really do mean that. I really appreciate it. So thank you. And these days we say roll bills. I don't know. That wasn't a thing back when I went here, but roll bills.
I actually, you know what? It was not, we just edited it up for me to say like, that was a thing. Like that was like a joke thing. And it was like tongue in cheek. And then all of us like women's soccer just decided to go with it. So
I like it. It's easy
I
do.
So I do.
Give me your best roll bills. I want to see your roll bills, Zachary.
I don't do the hand motion, but roll bills.
Okay.
What is the hand motion?
I've never seen that.
It's like a horn thing.
There was a Billiken that was like somebody tried to do a Billiken one time. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, we need a hand signal. I like having a hand signal, but
do like you do like the modified too sweet, but with the Billiken. I don't know. Just a thought. I'm throwing it out there.
All right. Something, but
all right, Beaty, we'll let you go. See you later.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Roll bills.
Pete, that interview, that was fun. I clearly enjoyed that. And I hope our listeners did too.
Zach, you were not kidding about her energy. Both of you are obviously younger than me, but certainly another level of energy that I just do not have. Even after chasing around, my own energetic kids all the time. But that was like sitting center court at a Wimbledon final or something like that. And I'm just sitting there trying to keep up with the action, what's going on. A ton of energy there. I could see why you're so excited, to have her on board at SLU now. And hopefully I kept up with everything.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I think she's an interjection of just pure adrenaline, like the movie Crank with Jason Statham, where he's just jamming epinephrine in his whatever it is, or I don't know whatever it is, into his arm, and then just goes nuts. Like that's the kind of energy that is being brought to St. Louis University volleyball, and it's something this program has sorely missed in the last 10 years. So very exciting for the program, and I'm ready. I'm ready for the games on Friday. I so badly wish they were all being streamed. Unfortunately, like we said, it'll be the 7:00 game on Friday will be on ESPN Plus. And you know what's going to go great with watching a Billiken volleyball game on ESPN Plus on Friday night?
Yeah, Zach, I think that would be some salsa. And
for me, yes.
So I was just in town this past weekend for my sister's wedding, but I was in for her now husband's bachelor party a few weeks before that, basically just going through town because he had it down at the Ozarks. And I stopped at Schnucks on my way back and I did the self-checkout thing. So I find something I hadn't seen at Schnucks before, which was their cantina style. I had only seen that at Straub's and I want to say Wine and Cheese Place or what it's another smaller store. So I find the cantina style medium, I think is the only heat level they've got on shelves at Schnucks. I'm loading up my bags, in the self-checkout. And as I'm leaving, swing the bag around, jar goes flying out. I didn't have it all the way down in there. So I've already paid. I've taken like 3 steps I'm like halfway between the self-checkouts and the exit. Big swing of the bag. The jar goes flying, hits the ground, and I was 100% sure that there was just going to be a huge mess of salsa on the ground, blocking the exit of Schnucks. And that thing, it made a horrible sound and did not break. I don't know. I don't know how it's possible, because I just watched it, so certain that it was going to be a huge mess, so certain that it was going to be my fault, embarrassing, all that, and not to mention out whatever I just spent on this jar. It didn't happen, man. It didn't break. It's just it must be just another level of commitment to quality that this company has.
Yes, they will not make you look like a loser.
I'm not telling you to take your jars and drop them out of your windows or anything like that. To experiment. Maybe that's, I don't know. Maybe that's a new YouTube channel or something. I don't know. Maybe I just gave somebody.
I think there was a video involving a jar on old no, we're not gonna go there. That's no, but maybe if it was a 2-man jar. Yeah, no. That's insane.
So I just got to hand it to them. Quality from start to finish, even before their product is even in the package. Thanks to 2 Men in a Garden, I'm betting another brand would have left a huge mess at the exit to Schnucks right before I got in my car and drove another 5.5 hours to Cincinnati. So 2meninthegarden.com. Follow them on social media at 2 Men. What is it, Zach? 2 Men's Salsa?
Yep, 2mensalsa.com.
2 Men's Salsa on Instagram.
Or no, sorry,
and Twitter.
2 Men Salsa on Instagram and Twitter. Yeah.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, go get the 2 Men in the Garden salsa. It will not break on you if you drop it. Allegedly. I can't guarantee it, but apparently it does not.
Based on my sample size of one experiment, shatterproof glass.
An article came out, and I don't know, I didn't read the article, but I was mad about its placement. Because again, I tell you people, I don't read. SLU hires new band director amid rocky relationship with athletics. Dude, I thought this was done. Like, what are we doing?
Well, you said you had an issue with the placement, Zach. So what does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, like, Post-Dispatch puts that front page. Is Monday that slow? Like, who, like, I think we're fair when it comes to critiquing the athletic department when they get it wrong, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, what are we doing? Like, what's the point? Like, of this article and putting it on the front page? We have 2 nationally ranked soccer teams. St. Louis City just beat Austin 6-3 last night. So there's a tire fire over on the east side. Like, why is that? Why is SLU hires a new band director on the front? Like, you can't tell me that they're not doing this purposefully. Like, they stack the evidence against them.
So is it not true that all publicity is good publicity?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't know. Okay. Like, it's just so weird. Like, you can't, I don't get it. Like, but again, this whole thing, this whole thing with the band and SLU, they just need to bury the hatchet. I get it. We're talking about mental health. It's a serious issue, but like, at the end of the day, the problem is easily solved here. You set a calendar. I've said this before. You set a calendar.
Yeah. That's
the calendar. That's it. You plan for, conference tournaments and stuff. You put that in there as a, hey, this could happen. Make sure, if you want to, put it as like an optional thing, right? Okay, fine. Then it's done. Nobody can complain. Don't go back on it. And that's it. It's solved. Like, I don't know why it's still a rocky relationship. Let's move past this. I am almost positive that the issue with the scheduling had to do with turnover in the athletic department among the marketing department. Like, that would make too much sense. That the number of people that rolled through the schedule didn't get scheduled.
Yeah, I mean that very well could be. In my, it's one of those things, Zach, because like how often do we hear our fans complaining that we don't get any publicity from the local paper or local press at all?
I'm one of those people.
Less than 2 hours down the road from a major state university known for its journalism program, right? So naturally, we are kind of the second if we're lucky, quite frankly, a lot of times. Banana to Mizzou and even Illinois, and surely way down from all of the pro sports. But I don't know. I don't mind seeing it. Like anything having to do with SLU, as long as it's not something horrible, like certainly there are things that have happened at SLU that I hate to see, at the top of the Post-Dispatch website. But it's fair is fair. They got to report the news. Obviously, I'm not saying cover anything up, but this is one of those things. Like having read the story, unlike my co-host, I suppose.
I can't read. I'm illiterate.
It's not like a negative story necessarily, like right out of the gate, they're talking about the new director acknowledging that it has been a tense relationship this year. And he's trying to be that sort of bridge that does help them move on, like you want them to, right? Like everything that I'm hearing from some of the band members that weren't happy, and some of the people who have tried to move past this, and others who seemed less interested, they all seem to really like this guy and think that he's the right hire. And to me, that all sounds pretty promising. So I thought it was a positive piece overall. I'm glad to see it, both that the band members who were frustrated get their story told, but also that the new guy gets his story. And the interim director was in there as well. She was featured as part of this as well. So I don't know. I thought it was a pretty well-rounded piece. And overall, I think it's a positive to be that well publicized within the community.
Yeah. I do. I will acknowledge that. I mean, it probably is a return to, that reactionary, where we see all the warts, right?
Yeah.
And then you see, so you see like this thing come out and you immediately go to, oh, this looks negative, right? And again, maybe it's the editor, maybe it's the person putting together the maybe negative sells, right? Maybe the negative spin as a headline being that it's a rocky relationship. Like, okay, it sells papers. It gets you to click, right? So yeah, I get that. And I do appreciate that the article, continues again. But again, it does stink to see kind of a negative spin being that headline, right?
Sure.
But again, maybe non-fans or not, non-diehards are going to see that and not think twice. Maybe I just think, see that negative spin and assign a little bit more severity to it than somebody else who's not as close to the situation would. So
right. I mean, most people are not going to be aware of this situation, for one. And number two, those that are probably are not as exhausted by it as you are. It does, I will give you that 100%. It does feel like a story that just kind of continues to simmer over, what has it been now? 9 months or so?
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a long time.
I think it was that Loyola women's basketball game. Now that I'm thinking about it,
okay,
I think that was the game.
So maybe 8 months or so, January, whatever that was. So yeah, I don't disagree with you there that it kind of feels like we need to move on one way or another. But I think this kind of represents that, right? Like I think the new director seems like a good hire, and that he's the one who's going to help him move on.
Yeah, if that bridges the gap, I'm all for it. And whatever we can do to get the Billiken pep band back whole again, it is absolutely should be job one that doesn't involve a ball bouncing anywhere, or a runner running anywhere. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think the band needs to be priority until it is resolved completely. Moving on to kind of it's tangentially related to men's basketball. It's not in the notes, but I mentioned it to you that I wanted to talk about it, and that's a certain university to the west is introducing fan-friendly pricing at football games this year. And Pete, I had a thought that, SLU needs to do this. Like it's all about retention with fans and getting returning ticket buyers. And I really think that's an opportunity. If your tickets aren't going to be, super cheap, why not, food? I don't know what you think about the fan-friendly pricing. We've seen it in Atlanta. Atlanta's famous for it. They were kind of the pioneers.
Right.
Pete, have you been to a stadium that has done this?
Not really, no. Because I'm trying to think of all the things that I've been to recently, and if it's SLU men's basketball games, professional games here in Cincinnati, the MLS, MLB. It's been a few years since I've been to an NFL game here. College basketball games, Dayton, other places I've gone. No, I haven't really seen it lately.
Well, I reached out to someone kind of in the know about the situation. I was curious, and I framed it as, what are the barriers to SLU doing a fan-friendly concession price type deal? And I think that from what I understand is that because it's run by it's not run by SLU, it's run by
Spectrum.
I think they
or
changed
whoever
their
it is
name.
now. Right.
Yeah. The way the contract is set up, the margins are high because it doesn't make sense if they're any lower. So they just, there's no money to be made. And I think what would need to happen is just like SLU taking over the concession, so literally building a new branch of the athletic department.
Right.
To get there. So I really don't know if it's in the cards here at St. Louis University, at least within the next 5 years. But I think they probably break about even right now with soccer. And it's just like a logistical nightmare, I think, to make it happen within the university. So moving on from kind of that caretaker company that takes care of all these concessions and stuff. So
I imagine there's a pretty ironclad contract. I don't know how long that would run. The arena's been open for what, 15 seasons now. But I would have to imagine that whatever the current contract is, there's got to be some years left on it. And there's no way that whoever's running the show is just going to go, oh yeah, all of our snacks are going to be half price from what they were. Or, they've already done a lot with tickets, honestly. Like there have already been a lot of promotions, $5-10 to get people in there to fill the place out. But I think with that comes, we're not going to bring those concession prices down, right? Maybe people will be more inclined to buy more expensive beers and popcorn and hot dogs, since it only costs them $40 to get a family through the doors or whatever. Yeah. So, I think all of that, it would have to be considered. But as long as there's a third party national corporation running the place in terms of management, I don't necessarily see it happening at Chaffetz.
Yeah, I went to, and I think if you're going to keep the concession stand prices as they are, I really think they need to start kind of getting with the times with the way concessions are moving. You look at the last 5-7 years at Enterprise Center, they have added so many local options. Lion's Choice is in there. I think Chuck's Hot Chicken's in there, or something like that. Bird, I don't know. They have like tropical liqueurs in there. And then you look at City Park. I was just at City Park last night, which is why you're getting this episode on Tuesday and not Monday. And every concession stand is local. Yeah. Like even the pretzels are Union Loafers pretzels.
Right. Yeah. Which is amazing. I think like after so many years, people are just tired of the, $11 Aramark chicken tenders or the Delaware North soft pretzel that's not very soft, like people are just like, there's a few companies that did all the concessions for everywhere, and they're just not good, and they're overpriced. And it's like, if I'm going to be paying that much and I can have a Beastcraft pork steak instead, like, yeah, I'm going to do that. Everyone I've talked to who has been to a game at City Park, by the way, has raved about the food. And it's not going to be 100% of what you get at the actual, restaurant or food truck or whatever it is. It's still in a stadium. There are limitations to how good it can be, but if you can get 80% of the way there, I don't know. That's pretty good in my book. And FC Cincinnati here does the same thing in their MLS stadium. They've got a lot more local flavor, certainly than the Bengals or Reds do. But yeah, I agree with you. That's certainly the direction it's heading.
I mean, shit, you've got like Cybergs right there on Market. You could bring in their wings. You got Happy's right there. You bring in pulled pork. Like, they have rolling smoke. They have the capability, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You have, I mean, you have all the people that are in the Foundry. I mean, but that's not really local. Those are just kind of fake local from what I hear. But yeah, kind of like almost Ghost Kitchen-y, which is a great rabbit hole to go down. If you've never gone down Ghost Kitchen rabbit hole, go down that. Just a quick aside there. But yeah, I think Chaffetz within the next 2 years needs to really start thinking about how to localize the arena and improve the experience. And I've hit on it so many times about the game day experience. It has to improve at Chaffetz. If we're not going to be awesome this year, you've got to do something to make the game day experience special.
Yeah, I don't disagree. They've got to do something. It's all a little bit too generic. And
I think the only thing is they have the Bradshaw burger. What is it? Isn't it like Terry Bradshaw has like a burger company? I think that's the one like kind of kitschy thing they have in Chaffetz. But
yeah, and I appreciate that I can go get an Urban Chestnut beer. Which is cool, instead of just the same stadium beers you find everywhere, that kind of thing. There's a few things, but yeah, overall I would like them to come up with an experience that's more befitting of our unique mascot, as you and I both agree on.
Oakview Group 360 is who runs the building right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So also, can we, again, since we're talking about amenities at Chaffetz, can we move the Billiken Club out of the 1818 lounge before games, please? Can we please move them over? Just move over to the other side. Move the food over the other side so everybody can get their drink at the bar and hang out in the bar. Come on, let's do it. It's been long enough. This is stupid. Anyway, that's my little rant too. Pete, everyone's on campus on men's basketball team.
Yeah, we saw this, Zach, because we got a nice Instagram post from the official account. It shows Churchich and Magassa alongside Bruce, Steph Van Bussel, and President Fred Postello. They were all
is not like the other.
And he's pretty tall, by the way. I think it kind of illustrates the height of these four guys, because Bruce is every bit of 7'1" from what I've heard, and it looks like Magassa might be something like 6'8", 6'9", based on where he is relative to Bruce.
There was some question there about his size too.
There was a lot of uncertainty, but now that he's actually here, he looks tall, at the tall end of what people were saying. Anywhere from like 6'6" to 6'9". He looks certainly more like 6'9" to me. And then yeah, Steph's a big dude too. He's probably about 6'10". So great to see all the international guys there. But that does confirm that now we do have everybody around, and that's great. I think today, Zach, was the first day of classes, if I'm not mistaken. It seemed like it was moving weekend this weekend. It seemed like that.
It was, and it was, of course, the freshman game at soccer, which was complete chaos.
Yes, yeah, that's right. You're the videos you posted from there.
Yes.
And hey, as long as they were having fun, that's all that matters, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I'll deal with a vuvuzela in my ear if they have a good first weekend experience, man. Can you imagine? Like, think about that. You know what? I didn't get that experience, that freshman experience, like that first night where everyone's going nuts because I transferred in at the end of first semester of my sophomore year of college.
Yeah.
From a community college. And what is that like, dude? Like, what's that like? Just having that first night where everybody's new, nobody knows a goddamn thing.
It's great. It's great. For me, it was the best in the world, the best feeling in the world, to like finally get out of the house, get to be on your own, like do your own thing. And then I'm surrounded by dozens of new people on my floor, all going through the same exact experience. It was great. My floor, we had co-ed floors at the time. I was in Marguerite Hall.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it was our floor was kind of wild.
That was my first dorm too.
Yeah, it was it was a cool dorm. It was very I don't know, it seemed a little.
Wait, were you Micah?
No,
okay.
That was, they had
Micah's were the top floor of Marguerite when I was there.
I don't know where they were when I was a freshman. I don't. Notre Dame Hall next to me was the honors dorm.
Those are nice.
My freshman year.
I've been in there like one time. Those were nice.
But then that place got renovated and they all got moved. And I want to say Micah was in Grease when I was there.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I love that time. And I'm sure I was annoying and everything. I don't know if I would have necessarily been on a vuvuzela at a game, but freshmen are freshmen, man. And it's just it's a big change, a crazy time in your life. I do remember going to a lot of soccer games early on though. And the team was really good when I was there too. That was like, Dipsy Selawane was our big goal scorer that year. And Brad Davis, it was his second of 2 years. He was a year older than me. And he was there, and yeah, that was a good team.
No, but it was so cool to see those kids. It's like they have no clue. They don't know. They don't know anything. They don't know anything.
They don't know what they don't know either.
They're blank canvases.
There's something beautiful about that.
They're beyond blank canvases. They have no idea. And they're all just like everybody's gonna be best friends with everybody. It's ridiculous. It's so like, I don't know. I'm waxing nostalgic for something I never had, so it's kind of weird. Yeah, sounds like we're getting close to a non-conference schedule. I'm hearing a couple need to be finalized, but
we're getting close. I think we've had fewer leaks this year than ever before. There are things that we knew. There are things that we knew, and there are things that we know, but we're not getting any hints as to who the bye games are. We're kind of hearing rumors. Maybe we have a decent home game coming in, but I can't get confirmation on it. I mean, there are no leaks at all, man. But the one thing that we saw, what's the guy's name who's really good on Twitter about scheduling, college basketball scheduling? Rocco.
Yeah, but then there's also I'm thinking of the guy that announces which team has been what number team to announce their schedule.
Yeah, no, it's not. So anyway, a couple of the Twitter scheduling sources were saying that basically SLU is one of several teams holding out for a home game on one date, and that the numbers are such that some of them are just going to have to give. But unfortunately, SLU just doesn't have that flexibility. We're already locked in to the Myrtle Beach Invitational, which is 3 neutral site games. We're already locked in to a few road games. Everything else has to be a home game. That's just the way the numbers are. So we need a home game. I wouldn't be surprised to see us grab somebody lower division again, like a Paul Quinn or a Harris Stowe or one of those that we've seen in recent years, which I know are the last minute things, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see another one of those this season, just given the realities of where we are with the schedule. So getting close, like you said, a couple need to be finalized, but we're kind of in a holding pattern at the moment.
Yeah, I think we're always the last anyway to announce.
It feels like that. I mean, they're like Rhode Island announced theirs today, I guess yesterday as you're listening to this. Several others in the A10 have released their schedules, and yeah, not us, unfortunately.
Hilariously, West Virginia, I think is the first this year.
Yes,
which
that's right.
I
They
think
were.
every year they are, and it's funnier this year, I think, in a way. By the way, we heard Huggins went into treatment. Really hoping for him to figure some shit out. Like seriously,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, for
yeah.
sure.
All let's talk about we got a retirement announcement on social media, one that I did not expect to see.
No, Zach, and I was expecting you, given your relationship with this guy, to to comment on it, to have something to say. But so far, I didn't want to step on your toes and tweet about it before you did. But the Billiken in question is Cody Ellis, and he basically announced his retirement from the NBL in Australia, saying that he wanted to kind of go out on his terms.
Yeah,
And and he just wrote a really nice little kind of paragraph about his family, his teammates, and just the unforgettable experiences that he's had.
yeah, I think if I kind of wanted to wait and give it and talk about it on the show, I think, but
Mhm.
yeah, it's kind of like I mean, he's been playing in the lower level of Australian basketball, and I think there aren't many careers that prove how much a person loves a game like the guy who plays an extended period of time, and he's been playing probably 10 plus years in that Australian lower division, like maybe 7 since he went down from the NBL. But I mean, that's a grind, and that's tough. So it truly shows his devotion and his love for the game.
Yeah, it really is. And I'm looking at where he is now. So
Like
NBL one,
physically.
no, in terms of so he's oh yeah, so NBL one West, I guess, used to be the SBL, the State Basketball League, which is like
Yeah.
the second tier from the NBL. And I guess he's with the Senators, which play in Warwick or
Yes.
Warwick. I don't know how to pronounce that, but they're out in Perth in Western Australia, which I know.
It's his home.
Yeah, right. Which, but is on the opposite side of the country as their other big cities, basically. Perth is way out there, but yeah, that's his hometown, and he's been there the last few seasons. And you're right, to play in the second division out there, and a full decade after he graduated from SLU. I mean, he's grinding, and he said he wanted to go out on his terms while he was still playing at a competitive level, and not just be one of these guys trying to hang on and as long as anybody would take him. I think it's very Cody from what I know of him.
Yeah, he said, "What a journey it has been. This game has taken me all around the world. Thank you for the opportunities. Thank you for the unforgettable experiences, including watching the selection show at a Best Buy." He actually didn't write that. I ad-libbed that one. Thank you to those that I've met along the way. Those of you I now consider family. Thank you for putting me where I was meant to be and finding my beautiful wife. Thank you to my brothers who I've gone to battle with every game. Thank you to my family for putting me in the best position to succeed and for all the support. Thank you to my 2 favorite people in the world, my amazing wife and awesome son, for letting me live out my dream as long as I have. The time has come to hang them up. I wanted to be able to go out on my own terms while still playing at a good level, and I think that's something that I've done. To my Senator brothers, you guys have made the last few years so much fun and are the reason this hasn't come sooner. This club owns a special place in my heart. It's where my journey started and now where it finishes. Blue heart, green heart basketball emojis. So again, congratulations to Cody Ellis on a career, and best of luck going forward.
Yeah, for sure.
I wonder if they will make a move over here similar to maybe Kevin Lish. Just kind of the same timeline in a lot of ways.
Is she? I don't know his
She
wife.
she's from Belleville.
Okay,
I
so
believe.
she's
I know she's from the east side.
Not just American, but at least fairly local. Too.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
So their son is like teenager now, which is bizarre for me. Because I remember when they had him. Yeah, let's talk women's soccer, Pete. Tough opener for the Bills. Thursday the 17th at BYU. They drop a 3-2 decision in this one.
They did, and that's number 13 BYU. We knew this was going to be a tough test, starting on the road We talked about the altitude. We talked about how good BYU's been recently. You know, when Coach Shields was on last week, she mentioned that they played in the national final a few seasons ago. So this is a really good test, a good program. And Zach, in the second minute, they make it 1-0. 10th minute, they make it 2-0. Bella Folino and then Olivia Katoa are the goal scorers on those. And you got to be thinking at this point, like, oh, wow, what did we get into?
They just could not overcome the Joseph Smith energy.
That's not where I thought you were going to go with that.
No. Yeah, second minute goal by Bella Folino. 10 minutes. It's 2-0. And unfortunately, as the Utah State announcer said the next on Thursday, that's kind of the game.
Yeah, it was. You know, we did get one back. The BYU had just a soft turnover. Caroline Kelly was in the right spot, and she decided to take advantage of the fact that the goalie was out a little bit too, and just let it go from distance. I mean, I don't know how far she was out, but it was. I mean, it was.
Yeah,
it wasn't the longest goal ever. I mean, we did have that one at Xavier last year, right? But she hit this one, caught the goalie on her heels, too far out of her spot. And even though the goalie got a piece of it, it was able to kind of bounce in. So 14th minute, you know, down 2-1, you got to figure like, all right, we're not out of this. But then BYU gets their third one before the half closes. This one from Aaron Bailey to take a 3-1 lead in halftime. And really that first half, I don't think felt like SLU was as competitive as they needed to be.
Yeah, I thought they were a little bit overzealous defensively in that first half. I thought especially on that 43rd minute goal. I don't remember who was the defender there, but I thought she might have attacked a little bit, again, too aggressively. And you know, the BYU player went around him and you're just like, okay, that's not good. And sure enough, BYU puts it in the back of the net. And I thought BYU was a little bit more clinical in this game with the ball at their feet. Much crisper, much, you know, efficient passing. You know, they didn't make a lot of mistakes. They were very solid on the ball. And but when they did, SLU did make them pay. And that was we don't deal a lot in moral victories, but I thought that was good to see from the team, especially going down 2-0.
Yeah, for sure. And then, you know, SLU makes it interesting late with a goal from Emily Gaby in the 85th minute. This one assisted by newcomer Izzy
Lubert.
Yes. I almost said Lubert again, but anyway, a really nice shot from the left wing. It just about a couple feet off of her foot. It deflected off a BYU defender and just arced perfectly above the goalie's reach and into the back of the net. So that was nice, but too little too late. 3-2's the final. Zach, just running through the numbers here. Shots on goal, or sorry, overall shots were BYU 26, SLU 17. 26 is a big number. Shots on goal, BYU 14, again a big number. SLU 9. SLU did have the advantage in corners 4-2 and fouls 11-7. SLU had more of those. Caroline Kelly's goal was the 20th of her career, which ties her for 10th all time in program history. And then Emily Piricelli made 11 saves, the second most in her career. Not necessarily the goalkeeping statistic I like to see, the fact that she's having to make that many saves. But I guess if you're a little overzealous in the defensive line, that's going to happen, especially against a good team like this.
And Piricelli, I mean, if it wasn't for Roman Berkey's performance last night at the City game, Piricelli may have had the best goalkeeping performance by a St. Louis goalkeeper in this game. She truly kept the Billikens in it, but unfortunately, it was not enough. And BYU got the win.
So is your takeaway from this one, did it just look like SLU was outclassed? Like they're just not quite at the level of that program yet? Or
no, because I thought at the end of that BYU game, the Billikens had a chance to tie.
That's right. Yeah.
It was like right there. I just wonder if they just didn't show up right off the hop, or just weren't ready, maybe.
Sure.
And I don't want to think that about a senior laden team, a super senior laden team.
Right.
But it seemed like they started kind of either a little over aggressive or just not ready for that kind of ticky tack passing and that sort of crisp ball movement, and it beat us. I thought BYU just played well. I don't know if it was an outclassed. I just thought BYU was better that night because I do think we were in that game. Despite what the shots will say. Next up, they played Utah State, and this was on Sunday. Sorry, I thought it was Thursday, Sunday. I had it backwards. I thought it was earlier in the weekend than Thursday. But yeah, Sunday the 20th, the Billikens beat Utah State 2-0. This was a completely different dynamic in this one.
Completely different. And both goals came off of corner kicks, off the foot of Hannah Larson, to be specific. First one came in the 33rd minute. Sophia Stram put it in a really nice header. She could not have done that any better, by the way. That perfect angle on that, off a Hannah Larson corner kick. And then in the 65th minute, this time it was Hannah Sawyer. Not quite as clean as the first one. Not that it matters. Kind of bounced a little bit, but yeah, that was two. And I think the recap of this one in I guess that would have been Stu's article, said corners have really been a focal point of preseason training for this team. So clearly it paid off in this one. And Emily Piricelli got her 49th career win, Zach, which is a new program record. Pretty incredible to do it this early in the season. She passed Megan Burke, who graduated in 2002, and Burke tweeted, "Nothing makes this Billiken prouder than records being broken. Keep leveling up, SLU women's soccer." So great to see the shout out from her on the accomplishment and the support for the program. But you're right. I mean, different game in this one. Utah State is not the level of BYU, but yeah, this was a game SLU needed to win after that first loss.
Yeah, it was also her 30th shutout. Mary Niehaus, Mary Niehaus was great too. Like she was really good right at that kind of I think she's kind of mid timeline of Katie Shields. I'm trying to remember. I think she was right before Piricelli, actually.
Yeah, so I just looked at this. So it said I think she played from 2016 to 2019.
So yeah, so she would have gave way to Piricelli.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that right? Or was there maybe someone out a year in between?
No, I think it was straight through.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, the stats in this one: shots, Utah State 14, Billikens 11. Shots on goal though, Billikens took that 8-6. Corners were 8 for the Billikens, 3 for Utah State. The fouls, Billikens very physical in this one, committing 12 to Utah's 7. Unbelievable view though behind that stadium. It wasn't a pretty game, but nor was it a pretty field, but that view was exquisite.
Yeah, it was. I saw your commentary on the field, and although I wasn't able to watch either of these games live, unfortunately, although I did have a pretty good excuse with my sister's wedding weekend festivities. Congratulations, Molly, by the way, my favorite sibling. She's the one who actually listens to our show, Zach.
Hey, bless her heart.
Yeah, she's the best. But yeah, like you said, not a pretty game. Incredible backdrop with the mountains and everything. SLU didn't score on the run of play here, and with both goals coming off corners. I'm kind of wondering, after the BYU loss, kind of an ugly game here. Is there any cause for concern this early in the season, or is it just too early? And that, they come back 1-1 after a challenging road trip. Are they going to be okay?
Yeah, I think they'll be okay. I think BYU's this was like, I feel like scheduling BYU on the road as your first game is kind of like being a pole vaulter and like setting that bar, like just really going for that world record.
Right.
You don't have it in you, but you want to see if you can pull it off. That's kind of what I feel like this was like, and kind of give you an idea of where you need to be at the end of the year. It's not, again, I think all of these coaches have been rightfully preaching, especially in one bid leagues, legit one bid leagues in soccer and volleyball now, that it's not where you start. It's how you do in the league. Obviously men's and women's soccer are kind of moving past that plateau that Katie Shields didn't want me to say was a plateau. And they're
Plateau's
getting
a
to that
hard
point.
word.
They're getting that to that point where they, the non-conference does matter. So, but yeah, I think this is a litmus test, and I thought they did fine. I would have preferred a win, but I'm okay with it at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm being honest, I was hoping they'd get out of BYU with a tie.
Yes.
And I wanted the win at Utah State, obviously, but I thought if they got out of BYU with at least a tie, I would have felt really good about that. Just knowing, when you go play a higher ranked team on the road, all the way across the country, that's tough. That's tough. So, regardless, a goal short of that, but nevertheless, I also tend to think they're going to be fine. Next up, they've got Creighton on the 24th, which is a Thursday. They play Sunday the 27th against Kansas City. Both of those games are going to be at home, so I think they've got a nice opportunity to get back into a groove here on their home pitch.
On the men's side of things, the Billikens, it was announced that they were picked to win the A10 this season by the league's head coaches. Once again, 13 votes for first place, one dissenting opinion. So I got to ask you, did Loyola vote for themselves, or was it Dayton feeling a pity party?
Yeah.
Was it spiteful?
Yeah. So it was the same dynamic on the women's side, right? Because UMass got one vote for,
and it was either UMass,
first.
Katie. I do not think Katie Shields voted for them. Like, I don't think Katie Shields voted for somebody else.
No, I think, like, you have to be honest, right? Like, even if you're like, false humility, just it doesn't serve anyone in that kind of format. It's like both Kalish and Shields know they've got the best team in the conference, right?
And stone cold killers.
Yeah, and that's their expectation. And for them to be like, oh, I'll give it to Loyola, I'll give it to UMass, it's like, no, that's BS. It's not coming from SLU. It's shenanigans. It's either, who knows? Maybe it is Dayton on both sides, just kind of being the annoying institution that we know that they are. So that's my theory. It's them. But also, Zach, we did have two preseason all conference players. Two seems a little low, but whatever. Christian Buendia and Diego Konings, both on the preseason all conference team. So that's good to see as well.
Was this just one preseason? Like, did they just do the all conference first team?
I believe so. Yeah, they don't do an all conference second.
But I mean, yeah, I would imagine we would see a few more in there. I'm guessing we'll see Mads in there at some point. Mads looks so in form right now.
Yeah,
I was shocked at we'll talk about it, but Seth Anderson, my goodness. Yeah. As you said, Dayton was picked, or I don't know if we said it, but Dayton was picked second and Loyola third. Loyola was the one that received the other first place vote, the 14th first place vote. The Billikens beat St. Louis Community College 8-0 Wednesday the 16th. That's about all I got to say about that.
Right.
But they played UIC on Saturday the 19th at Herman. No box score in this one, but thanks to a combination of a little bit from me, a lot from user Slewballs on Billikens.com for the recap and highlights. SLU men's soccer only posted 2 of the goals for some reason. They're humble, fake humility.
I think they put up the first and third one, if I'm not mistaken.
Pete, talk about the goals in this one.
Yeah, so Seth Anderson had the first 3, Zach, as you just intimated. He's on a mission. So yeah, and I agree. By the way,
he had a bad first 15 minutes too. I thought he was bad the first 15 minutes. I'm not lying. I'm not he had 3 or 4 just terrible touches. I was like, okay, what are we doing in this game? And then sure as shit,
yeah,
it's a natural hat trick for Seth Anderson. Made me look like an asshole.
So Mads was the one who fed him on that first one, and he put a nice ball, hit doinked the inside of the near post, and went past the keeper for that first one. The second one was a one timer. There was a play broken up, kind of top of the box by Galen Flynn. He was kind of taken out. Ball goes to Anderson, who just put it right in. And then the third one, he was just flying down the flank, full speed, beats two defenders, and then chips the goalie. Kind of a fadeaway shot as he's kind of going to the outside. Already knows what he's done. Yeah, natural hat trick, as you said, pretty cool. And he's clearly on a mission this season. Max Floriani had the fourth goal, which was a header off a corner kick. So overall, I'm looking at this result, Zach, thinking UIC is a team that SLU has played a lot lately in the regular season. And if I'm not mistaken, these have all been either ties or one goal games. This is not a program that is a slouch by any stretch of the imagination. So this seems like a really positive result to me. Yes, I know it's a preseason game. Yes, I know there were a lot of substitutions, a lot of different lineups, a lot of different looks. Things got a little sloppy at times. But regardless, I like the result, and I love the confidence from Anderson out there.
Yeah, absolutely. The only thing more beautiful than the Billikens winning 4-0 was the weather. It was just absolutely perfect weather. A little hot in the sun, but once that sun got down below the buildings, unbelievable evening for soccer at Herman Stadium. Yeah, UIC struggled last season. They went 5-9-2, 3-4-1 in conference. We'll see how they do this season. Hopefully they can. I mean, not that it matters. It's an exhibition game. Nobody cares about their RPI or whatever. But yeah, I think it's a decent test. You start off with a real tough test in Notre Dame, your first exhibition. You have a little bit of a laugh against the community college, and then you play somebody that's, similar to your conference.
Right. Yeah. And who's been a decent opponent in recent years, even if they're down, this year and last.
Yeah. Regular season kicks off on Thursday, the 24th against Butler. This will be a doubleheader with the women. The women kick off at 5 against Creighton. And then I believe the men kick off probably at 7:15, 7:30, something like that.
It would be nice to go 2-0 and make a little statement against the Big East, by the way.
Yes, it would. Besides the fact that these games will be shown on ESPN Plus, not Flow Sports.
Yes, that's right.
We're hoping to get, as we mentioned before, we're hoping to get Coach Kalish on the show this next weekend. Just have to make that official. Hopefully that happens. If not, maybe the next week. As we talked about with Coach Beaty, volleyball exhibition, they played SIU Carbondale on the 19th. We talked a little bit about that, so we won't rehash that, except to say that they dropped it 3-1. Next up is the Crimson Tide Invitational, as I mentioned it, but I will just reiterate. At Alabama on the 25th and 26th, they play Mercer 10 a.m. 25th, Alabama 7 p.m. on the 25th. That's on ESPN Plus, and then Mississippi Valley State 11 a.m. on the 26th. As I mentioned, only Alabama game will be streamed. Pete, give us a little bit of field hockey info.
Yeah, so field hockey played an exhibition against Iowa. Ooh, excuse me, Zach.
You're excused.
You threw it to me at exactly the wrong time. Exhibition against Iowa at Sportport on Saturday the 12th. Look, we don't have, recaps for any of these, unfortunately. Box score is not posted. Can't give you all the information, but we do know that they played full 4 quarters. They played in overtime. They played a shootout. The other exhibitions, they played Friday the 18th at Ball State and Monday the 21st today. Probably just ended not too long ago against Maryville out at Sportport. And next up, the regular season kicks off at Bellarmine on Friday the 25th, and then a quick turnaround as they come back home to play Bryant at noon on Sunday the 27th at Sportport. As we said, those are both winnable games. Those are teams that won 4 or 5 games last year. So it's certainly a good barometer to kind of see where they're going to be this season. Zach and I think they're going to be a little bit better, but clearly still a program that has a lot of building to do. Day
by day, brick by brick.
That's right.
We talked a little bit about it with Coach Beaty, and I think they can definitely apply it to field hockey. On the baseball side, kind of a surprise announcement. We always the baseball, the softball, these kind of announcements always hit us with surprise because we know when basketball is going to announce. We know kind of idea when soccer is going to announce, but these usually catch me by surprise. The Billikens added 6 transfers. First is Charlie Weber, a pitcher from Wofford, a St. Louis native who went to Chaminade. Weber, a big St. Louis name there. Drew Winters, a left fielder from Campbell, previously attended John A. Logan College of Chiropractic, I think. He's from Jacksonville, Illinois. Will Bollinger, a relief pitcher from Kansas, who previously attended Johnson County Community College. Pete, run us down the last 3.
Yeah, well, before I do, John A. Logan College is it's a JUCO in Illinois.
Oh, that's right.
It's different from Logan College of Chiropractic.
Son of a mother.
Which is now, yeah, you're right. Which is now what?
I
St.
never
Louis
miss
College?
a chance to embarrass myself.
Get your Logan straight. But yeah,
Wolverine.
Ian Blazer is a utility player from San Diego.
I already love him. That
yeah.
name is great.
And it's IER Blazier. So Blazier. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. He's originally from Nashville, Illinois, and was a star high school player there. Tommy Ray, pitcher
awesome
from
name.
Yep, another one. Louisiana Lafayette, I think, which is trying to go by just the University of Louisiana now. But he's originally from Quincy, Illinois. And then Ben Gallagher is a catcher from Eastern Illinois. He's originally from St. Paul, Minnesota, where he attended Cretin Durham Hall for high school.
That's not Creighton Durham Hall. That's Cretin Durham Hall.
Cretin.
You got all the good names, man.
I guess, or the ones that are maybe slightly harder to pronounce.
Gallagher makes you want to go watch like Sons of Anarchy now. That just the Ireland season, none of the other ones.
At first, I thought they misspelled it and left out a G, but I guess not.
No, good to see Hendo working the portal, and he's done well with transfers. Pete, also, Cam Redding hung up the cleats too.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? He was playing for the Milwaukee Milkmen. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Let me see if I can find that post while you.
Yeah, but Zach, when talking about transfers and kind of how this program has done with transfers, I think what you're seeing here is kind of a pattern, right? Because we've had a lot of our best success with guys who have gone elsewhere, who have been like, Missouri, Illinois, or St. Louis players who have gone out of town for college all over the place. And then they come back, they transfer closer to home, either for more playing time, to be closer to family, whatever their reasons are for transferring back home. But they've built a lot of success that way. Guys transferring, whether they're transferring up or down, whatever you want to call it, and just finding those fits of guys who want to get back in the Midwest and play here. So hopefully a few more of these guys pan out the same way.
Yeah, he said, "Thank you to all my teammates, coaches, friends, and family that I've had along this journey. I'm so lucky to have played as long as I did and will forever be indebted to this game that taught me so much. Thank you, baseball." Thank you, Cam. And, thank you for coming on our show and chatting with us when you did. And best of luck in your future.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Pete. Well, it's a long one. It's longer than we've been doing. We gave you a solid hour and a half. And really, if you've watched it this long, unbelievable. Thank you so much again for sticking with us through the entire show. It means the world to both of us. Again, if you can like, subscribe, rate, comment. Thank you to the people that do comment. Unbelievable. And thank you again to Andrea Beaty for joining the show. Go keep following this volleyball team. They're gonna struggle, but that struggle is gonna teach them something, and they're gonna get to where they need to be. So we're excited. Pete, as always, go Bills.
Go Bills.
Wait, roll Bills?
Roll Bills.
All right.